This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Welcome to the Ad Hoc Technology Committee for Southampton. Tonight, joining us, we have Adam from Final Site Website Design to speak about what he could possibly do for our town. So he's up first, so take it away, Adam.
All right. Thanks, Daniel. And sorry about the weird glare that's coming in here. It looks like I'm getting blasted by a rectangle.
Yeah, that is weird.
The time change has made a weird angle come through the window. So if we had this meeting next week, who knows what it would look like. But for now, I got to deal with this weird reflection. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Oh, I've got it said it's disabled.
Oh, I think I have to give you permissions.
Permission, yep.
One moment. Let me figure out how to do that.
Is Ed joining us tonight or no?
I thought he was, but you know, tonight's a busy night for him, so.
Gotcha. Do you have your board meeting as well, or council meeting as well tonight?
I'm sure he has 100 meetings going on. So I'm going to go with participants, and if I choose you, more, allow, no, you're not putting waiting room. That would not be the right choice. Share. Okay, I think I clicked the right button.
Let's give it a try. Yep. All right, we're working here. Okay, perfect. So basically, my agenda for today is to just introduce Final Site a little bit more as a company, kind of talk about Southampton's situation, what you're looking to do with your website, and then we can dive into a few examples of other sites that we're doing and kind of take a look at a few specific features that we're working on. And then leave plenty of time for you guys for Q&A. I have another town council meeting at 7, and I want to be respectful of your time as well. So I'm thinking no more than a half hour tops. Hopefully a little less than that. I saw you guys had a big agenda too. So let's dive right in if this looks good to everyone. Awesome. All right. So like I mentioned, Final Site is based in Glastonbury, Connecticut, and we have been working on websites for over 23 years now. So we started off in the independent school space, and then we expanded into public schools and school districts, and then we have recently expanded into municipalities. So what happened was we had a town where the IT director was also the IT director for the public schools. And they were a public school client of ours, and they said, hey, we love your CMS. Why can't we just use it for the town as well? So we said, okay, let's give it a shot. And it worked great. So we decided to launch our municipal division. So that was in February of 2020, which was an interesting time to start something new. But we've been steadily growing, and we're up to 10 municipal clients. Across mainly New England. Hopefully should be getting a contract in shortly for Athol, which I believe is a little northeast of you guys. And then our other Massachusetts client who is in deployment right now is Medford. So hopefully gonna have 2 brand new Massachusetts websites to show off soon. But for now, I'm going to show you some Connecticut and Maine websites. And then just a little bit more about Final Site as a company. We are not just a software company where you install us and you're on your own. We're full partners for all of our clients. So if you had questions about what's the best time to be posting on social media? How frequently should we be sending out email newsletters, right? So those kind of communication goal-oriented questions, you're going to have a dedicated client success manager who is there to help you out. So an example from just this past week, actually, is I had a client reach out, kind of panicked because the news was doing a little segment on their new website. City of New Britain, Connecticut just launched their new website. They said, hey, what do we talk about? So we came up with some PR points. Our team worked together to kind of coach them through the interviews. So just a little bit more than just the software companies, I guess, what I'm trying to get across here. And so with that, do you have any questions about Final Site just as a company before we get into websites and software?
How many employees do you have?
Yeah, so we have about 300 employees across the world, really.
Oh,
So we've got about 2,000 clients now. Obviously, about 1,000 school districts here in the United States, but then international independent schools as well.
so how many of those are dedicated to the municipality, or is it not really like dedicated to that specific genre?
Um, so I could say probably I'm really only municipally dedicated employee, where municipal is in my job title. But really, once you start working with the rest of the team, there's not a specific focus. So really the only way that our internally we're split up is on the sales side of things. So we have an independent school sales team, we have a public school sales team and municipal sales. But we don't have independent school designers who only design independent schools and won't design public school districts or municipalities, right? The whole support team, whole design team, whole client success team spans all across markets.
Where are your employees located? Are they U.S. based, or are they located all across the world?
All across the world, we're a fully remote company at this point. But I'd say the majority are located here in Connecticut or in Texas. We had an acquisition recently, and a lot of their employees were located in Texas. They're an Austin-based company.
All right.
Anyone else? Go
Anybody?
ahead.
Any other questions anybody else wants to
Yes.
ask? I'll say it that way.
All right, awesome. Let's move on a little bit then to Southampton, right? So here's your site. And I've been working with Ed, and he has told me you guys think it's time to have a new website design. So obviously you're working together to kind of come up with a solution here. Do you want to just walk me through a little bit of what you're doing currently, what you like, what you don't like?
Well, we like that we're able to reach the townspeople with information, that we have that spot that people can receive notifications. I think that's a very important thing. The capability of doing more things online, like paying taxes online, paying any bills online. Those are capabilities, that we have or want to expand on. The more we can offer through the website, it means less
Right.
less demand on our townspeople who are looking for information.
Sure.
They can go to one-stop shopping, right? Go to a website, find everything they need about the town.
Makes sense. But what I'm noticing here is that these are third-party platforms here, right? So you're using WordPress for the website, but then you're linking off to another website to pay taxes, or you're linking off to another platform for these emergency notifications. So what I'm kind of seeing through all of this is that WordPress is kind of limiting your functionality. I don't know, are any of you involved day to day with the management of the website?
I designed it and wrote it a number of years ago, and the good news is it cost the town nothing.
Right. So that's the good thing about WordPress, right? Is you just pay for the domain, the hosting, and you're up and running.
And I should also mention I'm an electrical engineer, retired, and never designed a website in my life. So
You did a great job.
it took me a couple of weeks, but
right.
It has lasted for a while.
Right. So that's the interesting thing about municipalities is nobody has a dedicated, webmaster who knows HTML and CSS and can code these things. And that's their dedicated job, right? You have people stepping in from all different departments to try and manage the site. And then that's where things can get messy if the software is a little tricky to use. So I know WordPress is pretty straightforward if you know what you're doing. But if you're the average finance director, you probably aren't going to have too much success with WordPress, right? So it has, I'm assuming, put a lot of the work onto your shoulders, Art, when you're kind of, people are coming to you and saying, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that? And you're not even the expert either, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I haven't managed it for a year or so because I got bored with it, but, yeah, it was, in some ways, almost, I shouldn't say a full-time job because I don't work anymore, I volunteer. But it was a lot of work because every
Right.
department wanted changes and this and that, so.
For sure.
The best way, as you know, as we all know, is to push it down and have everybody have, that needs to have access to whatever they need to do.
Right. Makes sense. Right. Any other thoughts or anything specific I should know about the site right now before we take a look at a few of our client websites?
I have a question, and maybe you'll cover it later. We had spoken to another company and talked about how users, the people in the who are supporting these web pages, like you mentioned, the finance person, would be updating the page, and you mentioned some tool called Drupal. Is that the same tool that you use?
No, absolutely not. So Drupal is a platform similar to WordPress. I'm assuming you
Okay.
spoke of Civic Plus.
Yeah, yeah.
So Drupal is an open source platform.
We're getting a lot of
Kinda,
feedback for some reason. Hang on. I don't know why. Maybe it was. Go ahead. Try again.
so it's an open source platform that's similar to WordPress, where you kind of have all the issues of dealing with an open source platform. So I know Civic Plus is pretty popular in Massachusetts, but they got that way by acquiring a company called Virtual Towns and Cities, or Virtual Towns and Schools. I'm not sure if you recall them. But they were around for a while up here in New England, and then Civic Plus bought them out, and then that's how you have all these Massachusetts sites on Civic Plus. And then they kind of haven't done anything. You see all these kind of old looking sites that are just sitting on that Drupal platform, not innovating, not doing a great job of communicating to residents.
So I think maybe you can highlight that or hit on that. What's your differentiators
Yeah, for
between
sure.
you and them?
Yeah, let's start taking a look at some websites here. So this is the town of Ellington, Connecticut, about 15,000 residents. Very similar kind of demographically to Southampton. And they came to us and they said, we kind of want our website to be the town's version of Google, right? So they wanted to feature the search bar very prominently where residents can come and find everything that they need. And we scroll down the page here, we see some quick links to their agendas minutes, right? The ability to go and pay taxes directly online. If they have there are any alerts and messages, right, residents can click and easily access their alert platform here where they can sign up. If we go back to the homepage, here they're pulling in their latest news and updates, right? If we want to see what's going on in the town, here's their March newsletter. And this is actually the newsletter that gets emailed out to town residents. So this very newsletter here is what you would have gotten your email inbox. And they're also featuring it on their homepage with the link. Okay, and then they have their calendar, right? Residents can scroll through here, see what it looks like for the next week or so. If they want to view the full calendar, we'll click on this page. We're actually getting a little notification here, call this a page pop. So you can put these on any page of the website, and they're great to convey kind of important or urgent information. So if there's like a snow day and the town hall is closed, or if there's a major COVID outbreak, something like that, right? You would put a page pop up on the homepage saying, hey, town hall is closed for the day or something like that. All right, coming into their full calendar here, they do a great job of segmenting their calendar by category, essentially, right? So we have all these different labels. They have their Board of Selectmen calendar coming up here. If we click on an event, we can click to view the agenda. If it's a Zoom meeting, right, you can put that Zoom link right there and attach it to the event. Just making it super easy for residents to be in touch with the town and the community, and really have a tailored experience, right? So they can come in and filter which calendars are relevant to them. So maybe they only care about town events if there's a parade or something going on. They also give residents the ability to subscribe via RSS feed, so you can download it directly to your device, or potentially even subscribe for specific alerts by logging in. So if you just wanted to sign up for one particular calendar and have that customized experience, or perhaps even one event, you could do it that way. All right, we'll head over to their homepage. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more, and they're pretty active on social media. So they have a big presence on Facebook and Instagram as well. Is that something the town also does, or are you guys not super active on social media?
Not super active, I'd say.
Gotcha. All right.
You have to have people to do it,
Right. Right.
We do have a community Facebook page, and we are linked through the website to that.
Right. I did kind of notice that, right? You've got that Facebook embed where it kind of just looks like it got cut and pasted out of Facebook and plopped onto the site.
Yeah.
We actually have a built-in feeds module, which will pull that Facebook content and make it a more cohesive site experience here, right? So this looks like it's part of the website. We can click on it, we get the full post coming up, and it's not just that cut and paste embed out of Facebook or Twitter, wherever it's coming from.
That's not a cut and paste. That's actually a feed, but somebody screwed it up. So, but it does work.
Right. This is the standard.
Yeah, that is a feed.
Whenever you're building a website, you take that embed code out of Facebook or Twitter and you paste that code into the website, and then it's from Facebook, right? This is what Facebook wants it to look like, not what you want it to look like.
That's correct.
Right. So when we are looking at some of our municipal sites here, so here's Scarborough, Maine. Again, they wanted to go with a similar design, but they customized it a little bit more themselves. We scroll down to the bottom of their page here, right? So it's what Scarborough, Maine wants their social media to look like on the site, not what Facebook wants it to look like when you're taking that embed code. Okay. Another town I want to show you is Suffield, Connecticut. So that's actually right up on the border, right up 91. They are one of our earlier municipal clients. And they have a different layout here, right? So they have quick links offered over the header for some of these things. They do a great job with their staff directory. So if I click on that, it's going to bring up their town staff here. And you can put in basically as much information as you'd like. So I don't know, maybe you have town council members you want to provide profiles for. You can provide their contact information, a little bio about them, and set up a nice directory. Their employee spotlight and a business spotlight. That's a good idea. I like that a lot. And they have their news coming through here. Click view all news. So again, allowing residents to come through here and subscribe to receive news by signing up, right? Putting your information, and they'll receive the town news directly in their inbox. They do something pretty neat with their calendar, where they actually allow residents to submit events. So if there's a community, volunteer event or something like that going on, and the resident feels like it should be posted on the town calendar, you can actually come in here, submit this form, and then the town, someone, the webmaster will decide to approve it or not and publish it to the calendar. So something like this Veterans Breakfast, right, could have been posted through that feature. All right, I said I would take up a half hour most. We were actually kind of burning the clock here, almost at 6:30. Are there particular features or questions you'd like me to highlight?
Yeah, so you highlighted a lot about the user's perspective of it. What about the people who have to input the data, that side
Right,
of it?
for
Like
sure.
say like me as like the chair of this committee. How would I put in my meeting into one of these websites?
Yeah, definitely. So let me go ahead and log into a demo site here. I typically like to schedule a full hour with the management, the web administrators of a town, because we can get pretty into the weeds with these demos. But just for the committee here, we can definitely do a quick demonstration of what it looks like to add the page. So I'm logging here into our demo site again, and our CMS is called Composer. It's a proprietary CMS. We take care of all the hosting, all the security and updates for you. So you don't have to worry about doing any of that kind of stuff yourself. If we come over and click on our Composer icon, and we're going to come to our demo site here. It is a fully what you see is what you get editor, meaning that when we flip this compose switch down here, we're editing the page as it is, and we don't have to flip between a published version, preview version, all that kind of stuff. We see exactly what it's going to look like. So let's say I want to create a new page on the site. I'm just going to come over in this left column here to the sitemap. If I want to put it under the about section, all I have to do is click these three dots, add new page. Southampton. You have full control over what the URL is. No need to have funky number and letter combinations. Click save here. And boom, we have our new page. All we have to do again to start editing is flip the compose switch. And then what I'm actually going to do is come back to your site. Maybe try and find some news post. That's a PDF. These all look like PDFs. If you have like an about page, something with maybe a little bit of content on it. Oh, this is fine. I'll just copy and paste it into the new site here. Save. So you notice that it kind of took on the look and feel of the rest of the theme here. When you have a lot of people who have their hands in the website, you definitely want to keep things consistent. So it's automatically going to do that for you. You don't have to worry about someone pasting in Comic Sans and it looking really funky. The software is going to take care of that for you. Everything is drag and drop. So let's say we wanted to add an image in here really quick. All we do is add element, right? And we have our different modules in here that we can select from. If it was a calendar, if you wanted to put a form in here, something like that, right? We would just select it. For now, let's just do an image very quickly. I'm going to choose this one. Actually, that one, I've had issues with that one in the past. Okay, so boom, we have our image. And let's say I want this to be a 2-column layout page, not necessarily one large column. I just click on the layout and appearance button down here, select 2 columns, click save. Now I can just drag this right on over. Boom, we have our page here.
So I guess my question is, you're kind of what I'm taking away from this is that you would kind of train up some townspeople who would kind of be like the experts on using the composer tool, who may be able to help other people. Is that kind of how you go about
Yeah, absolutely. So we
deploying?
provide full training to all of our clients, and even having a training portal that they can access at any time with videos and quizzes, that kind of stuff. Typically, most towns do have a point person for their website management, um, who is going to be that main administrator who has full control over the site, and then maybe assign different permissions to different departments. So if I come in here to settings and come to permissions, you can basically create as many different groups of users as you'd like, right? So each department in your website might be a different group here listed out. And then you could say, okay, this group of users is only allowed to view and edit pages. They can't publish pages. It requires an administrator approval to publish, right? So maybe Art goes through and takes a look at all the pages that have been submitted for approval and says, I like this one. This one's good to go. This one kind of messed things up and needs a little bit more work and doesn't approve it. So very granular permission settings to make sure that everyone is only making the changes that they're supposed to be making.
Okay, my next question is about you said you guys do the hosting for us, right?
Correct.
For our website. So where are your servers located?
We use Google Cloud servers.
Okay, so
So
distributed globally.
distributed globally. The closest one to, or the one you would most likely be hosted on, is in Boston, geographically.
Sure, yeah. Just making sure that it's redundant and
Right. Oh,
spread
absolutely.
out and all those
So
good things.
our SLA is for 99.99% uptime. We're protected from attacks by Cloudflare, right? So you're never going to have a more secure experience than working with us. We keep backups, daily, weekly, monthly kind of thing to have that redundancy. So your data is super secure with us.
Cool. So
How
Go ahead.
user friendly is this? Can just about anyone go in and make changes if they're allowed to say committee members or posting agendas or adding information for committee meetings on this, or do they actually need to be trained to use this product?
That's a good question, Ed. Thanks for hopping on. I didn't actually see you joined. Did you catch the demo of adding this page?
Yes, I did.
Awesome. What did you think of that? How easy did you think that was to do?
Seemed pretty easy.
Right. So that's pretty much anyone who can make a Microsoft Word document should be able to edit the page in here, right? So we literally just copied some content in, put a page in. We're able to drag and drop these content sections. Again, if we want to add now a form below this page here, all we have to do is choose which module we're using and then select which form we want to add in here, right? So very easy to manage these kinds of things.
So like a form would allow us to do like surveys for people? Is that,
Yeah, absolutely. So
that'd be good.
surveys, this is a citizen request form, so showing you what another town is doing, right? Submit a request, right? If there's an issue with, if you want to get in touch with the assessor's office, right, you can submit the contact information here, even attach a file. You can even process payments directly through the forms if you wanted to. So we don't recommend it for things like bigger tax payments, obviously, but if it was something like a dog license or maybe a camp sign up in the town, you could process those one-time payments very, very quickly.
How does that work? You don't take anything off the top, right? Or charge a fee for any of those processings, or do you?
So we can absolutely integrate with any existing payment provider that you have.
Okay.
We have a partner called BlueSnap who does the payment processing. And they have a fee, obviously, for credit cards. That's just how
Yeah,
it works.
that's how the world works. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Any other sort of questions? We are a little over on time, but like I said, I can stick around for a little bit. I just want to be respectful of your guys' agenda.
So you would work with us to design the new website to what we wanted?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically the project process takes course for most towns over 3 to 5 months. It all starts off with a kickoff call with your project manager, where they're going to kind of outline the steps for the project, kind of assign dates to everything, right? This is when you need to have your logo sent over to us. This is when you need to pick your theme design. We will absolutely help you with things like designing the sitemap and content layout, right? So what's the best type of layout for your interior pages, right? You have a dedicated project manager who's going to be working with you on all that kind of stuff.
Okay. And typically, how is it priced? Is it by the general population of the town or what?
Right. So our core packages are exactly based off of the town population, roughly. Obviously, we have a lot of other features that you could purchase, right? If you wanted to have a managed accessibility solution, right? All of our websites are built accessible, and there is a built-in accessibility checker here. But if you did want to purchase a managed accessibility solution where it would fix these ADA compliance errors for you, that's an additional cost. If you wanted to have an athletics module for town sports, right, that could be an additional cost. So it is a little bit of variance based off of exactly what a town is looking for. I would say a core package, though, for a town your size, you're talking about $6,000 a year annually. And then for the design and deployment costs, somewhere between $7,500 to $10,000. Is that in the ballpark of what you guys have been discussing, or are we a little bit high?
Oh, I'd have to go back and look. If you want to send us, a proposal in writing, I think that would be good for us to have, so we can compare apples to apples what you're offering.
Yeah,
sure.
I think Ed's having trouble connecting tonight. This is Chris. I've been frozen too, so I don't know what's going on tonight. I don't know that we've gotten too much into price detail, but it would be good to understand that. But did I just understand you said $6,000 annually? Is that our sort of a maintenance fee, if you will, management fee?
That's the subscription for the software.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Typically, I like to give a little bit more of a demo before I send a proposal over, because otherwise there's so many features on there that could get lost and kind of in translation. Would it make sense to schedule another hour? I don't know, with a couple of the kind of more website administrators before you guys wanted to see a proposal?
I'm wondering who else you're thinking we have for website administrators.
Yeah, right now, Adam. I mean, basically everything goes to Ed as the town administrator, and we have a person on call that works a few hours a month to update any information that needs to be put on the website. So it's basically been just announcements right now. I mean, the management of each page has been kind of lacking, shall we say. Everything kind of gets put to the home page just to be sure that somebody can see it.
Right.
But it's really not been thoughtfully managed, I guess I would say, over several months now. So we don't have anybody other than Ed is kind of he's our point person right now. And certainly our desire is not to keep on going to such a centralized route. And I think, as you hit on earlier, we would like to get to a point where department managers can manage their own pages, and do their own updates with the permissions like you had outlined there earlier too. So that part of what we'd like to do, I think, is really, really true. But it might make sense. I don't know if Dan, is Dan Breen going to take on any lead here with website? I thought he was.
Yeah, that's the area that he's going to focus in. Unfortunately, he was unable to join us this evening. He texted me earlier.
Yeah, so in that case, it might make sense to have another meeting where 3 or 4 people that are super interested and would want to be involved could see this in more detail sometime. And it maybe an afternoon meeting or whatever works for anybody's schedule. But
that's typically how this process goes. Is there's generally going to be 2, 3, 4, however many point people for the website moving forward. I know obviously right now that hasn't been happening, but there's going to be people who are going to be working on this moving forward. That's kind of the point of making this big investment and making this change. And typically we like to do a much longer demo with them to make sure they know what they're getting into in a way. So as Ed kind of dropped off, he doesn't come back on. I will get in touch with him certainly about potentially scheduling that with him and maybe some of the other department heads within the town. And then we'll definitely have a proposal after that.
Yeah, he just texted me. His laptop locked up, so he's trying to get back on his home laptop, I guess.
Gotcha.
I don't know. Everybody's having issues tonight. So yeah.
It's the time change.
Yeah, right. But
All right, awesome. Any other questions?
No, I think it'll be interesting to get together again and have more in-depth conversations about it, about your product and how this could work well for Southampton. So I think we want to thank you for your time tonight, and so.
I thank you all for having me, and it's a pleasure. And I gotta say, I know he's not on here right now. I work obviously with towns all day. Spoken with hundreds and hundreds of town administrators. You guys have one of the nicest town administrators around. He's such a nice guy, and I've enjoyed working with him. So I'll be in touch with him to follow up and hopefully schedule a demo with, like I said, with kind of some of those department heads, and we'll take it from there.
All right, thank you, sir. Have a nice evening.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. So let's continue on with our agenda. Let me just find that.
Just a quick one.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The previous website company, what was do you guys remember the cost? I'm just trying to get that. And the maintenance fees.
I could probably find it in my email if you give me a minute.
No. I mean, we got other stuff in there. I just was curious to see if this.
Yeah, I have it up. The first year total investment was $12,500, and then if we did the alternate payment plan, it was $59.61 for 3 years. So they're right in line.
Pretty close. Yeah, this one I liked, and this guy really went into it briefly, but it looked pretty nice to me. I'll tell you.
I think you'd have to be one of the people that dig in deeper with this from your experience making the website. Of course, I think you and Dan Breen.
Dan's the expert, not me.
Well, I mean, you know what the content that our town needs is, so that helps. So I think you two diving into it together might be a good combo.
I'm just happy that it's very close. That's good news.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So, did anybody want to share any other thoughts they had from that presentation?
Just one quick question. I think I understood him to sort of say that even though Civic Plus has multiple contracts, especially with municipalities, and that's really more their forte, right? That he kind of found their stuff somewhat static. I mean, it isn't very creative. Is that what I was trying to understand of what he was trying to say?
Yeah, he seemed to hint on that, and that seemed to mimic what Dan Breen was saying about the whole use of their Drupal tool. It seemed like they were using some older versions, which may be limiting them. I'm speaking a little outside of my knowledge base, but that's what I picked up on as well.
Yeah, the only question I have is the Drupal product easier for the end user in the departments to use than what this would be?
From what I saw, this one is most like Squarespace and Wix and Weebly, and it would be far easier. And plus, we would have control over this one, and the other one wanted all the control. which I know me and Kim anyway did not like that. And I misspoke on the prices actually. So if we did the 12,500 for the year one, it'd be 26.25 per year afterwards. But the alternate payment was the 59.61 for 3 years.
Yeah, usually what they'll do is they will, shall we say, the yearly support you pay anyway, but what they will usually do is take the actual website development cost and actually divide that over 3 years for you.
Yeah, they did have additional Civic Plus, additional supported users for $250 per user per 12 months. And then custom department subsites, 3,000 one time, and then 500 annual hosting and support. So there's a couple different, I mean, that might be worked in to Final Say as well, but.
Well, that's good. It seems like we got some good general impressions, but we want to have them back to talk to us further, right? So, question. So, I guess I don't know if Chris, if you've gotten the results back from any of the questionnaire you sent out. In terms of being able to fund the website this year, is that something that we want to propose to the select board or would need to do soon? Or
Yeah, definitely would need to be soon. I believe, Ed, we would like to take a look at doing that through the ARPA funds. We've been talking about that. Looks like a legitimate expense that we could do.
It is.
So we're going to be taking applications for the ARPA money anytime and start looking at them as of April 1st. We've got an application out as of today, I believe, and we'll start looking at applications. We're going to be collecting applications for the use of the funds, I think over about a 6-week period until the beginning of May as a first tranche, and see how much is out there. And if we need a second round of funding, we will, but a second round of applications rather. So I mean, anytime sooner than later, there'll be an application form that's kind of the cover of, what's its purpose and all those kinds of questions. Who's going to benefit from it, what's it's going to cost, et cetera, how's it going to be supported. So there's an application form so that we can track all of our ARPA funds about how we've decided to use them and approve them and use them.
So would you think we would have to have down selected between Civic Plus and Final Site to submit, because you want to know the actual cost, right?
Yeah, I don't know, Ed, what do you think? Yeah. I don't know if we're going to have a decision made by then, because you guys would want to review it, and you still want to come to select board to present it, right? And
right, yeah, the time crunch is.
Yeah, I think we postponed your sort of your quarterly presentation to select board that other night, but I think we're going to aim for you guys to be on the 29th.
Okay.
Whatever you and David and Kim had worked on, but that might have been more on the MLP part. I don't know what you were working on. So
yeah, that was the plan for presenting
whatever
at the next meeting.
Between that and you could give an update about where things are with the website with these two companies as well. That would be good to know. I don't know. We'd like to narrow down some money sooner rather than later, I'd assume. Ed, I don't know how you want to run it.
You can narrow down the money pretty quickly between the two of them. It's just a question. The final question is which one of the two, or is there another company that we're going to want to use to do this?
So I guess my question, or the part I don't understand, is do you have to know the exact dollar? Like, do we have to choose? If we choose a company, then we know the exact dollar amount, like per year. Is that what would be required for this team to submit the application for the ARPA money for the website improvements?
Yes, that would be the preferable piece.
Yep. Okay. So 2.
I mean, the worst case scenario is if it's you're deciding between the two, pick the higher of the two as far as cost goes, and then the money can roll back. But I wouldn't short sight it, that's for sure.
All right. Well, okay.
And whether we could get these guys back to have another presentation before the 29th, I don't know if that's possible with anybody's schedule, but. Or the demo rather, whatever he was talking about.
Yeah, okay. So we'll try to set that up before the 29th so that we can, for our presentation to the select board, which would also include one of the other topics, which is the work we're doing about the MLP selection.
One of the thought I might have is I'd be glad to do it, but I'd feel comfortable like maybe reaching out, or anybody can do it, reaching out to Suffield and just finding out their experience with these guys, just because they're very much, obviously they've been very much school oriented and they've only got a couple of municipal contracts in Massachusetts, but you know, Suffield is right close by in terms of our neighbor, maybe just to find out more. If I don't know anybody there offhand, but I mean, between Ed and I, we could reach out to the town administrator or whomever and find out what their general experience has been too, just to get a bit of a sense. I mean, I think these guys, this sounds like a more dynamic platform maybe from what we heard the other time, even though the other guys seem to have the corner on the market. So, and I think they might be able to give us more time to be creative as well, compared to sort of the rote out of the box kind of, you know, mentality that we might have with the other company. I don't know. It's hard to say, but.
That'd be great if one of the two you would be willing to reach out to them. I think any of us just calling up, you know, Town Hall of Suffield might seem out of place. So it might be better coming if one of you make the contact.
Yeah, I used to have some contacts in Suffield, but I can reach out to their town administrator or town manager.
Thank you very much, Ed. I appreciate it. Or as I used to call you, Mr. Gibson.
Yeah, you're getting much better at that. I like that.
Yeah. All right. So, is there anything else about the website design that we wanted to discuss tonight? Do we want to look at any other companies, or do we feel that these two are a good representation of the market and we'd be able to choose? Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Well, sounds like we have some time restraints, and I don't think you're going to find a heck of a lot of difference here between putting in another company.
Makes sense.
I think they want to work hard with us, as I think Chris was alluding to, because you know they have few mass towns and cities, and this would help their you know,
Growth. Yeah.
for this state.
Okay, good. So the plan would be to down select between the two website companies. Final site. Okay, great.
Maybe I'm pushing this too fast. David, Megan, do you agree that we can get by with two here?
Yeah, I think judging by the price points, they're both about the same and similar quality, I would say. So I would say that we're okay with the two. I think anything else we'd be compromising either quality or price or, you know, closeness with support. I like that they do the PR stuff too. Like if you have questions about what to post or when to post stuff, or it's a different component because most website design companies just do website design, but they kind of have a marketing and general purpose support.
Yeah, and I think we'd want to be sure that we have as much as we can that's ADA compliant as well. If we're going to go for this, let's do it right,
Yeah, that was a nice feature it had.
Yeah, I mean, the two that I think are important going forward, or that may be add-ons, are ADA compliancy, so that we can utilize that with what we're putting out there. And then the other one is, okay, we might want to ask them if they do have a, translation ability.
Very good point. And I like the built-in forms, because right now we end up having to we try to do these surveys, and this would allow us to have that capability right on our home web page. So,
Yeah, it's definitely a nice little add-on that I hadn't even thought of before he showed us that.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Is there anything else before we move on to our next topic?
Anything?
Okay. So should we talk a little bit about the IT grant? Any progress or work that has been done or has to be done with that soon? Cybersecurity grant? Is that a floor question?
I wouldn't have an update on that, so that's probably a Floric question.
Okay,
I think so too.
Okay, so
It's only good for 1 month, right? The submission.
I'm not sure.
But just one thing on the, are you talking about the community IT grant, the cybersecurity upgrade thing?
Yep.
Yeah, I think an email just came through late this afternoon from those folks. I think wanting to have a meeting at the end of the month to go over the final proposal with their hardware and software upgrade. So I think they threw out, I think, a date to us to take a look at that probably at the end of the month. So they're moving along, I think.
Excellent.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that
yeah,
one.
It just came in. I got it about 4:30 actually. I just saw it now. Yeah.
Sorry, what was the name of the company again? I forgot their name.
Novus.
Novus. Thank you.
Is that right? I think it's Novus. Yeah.
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 That makes sense.
Novus Insight. Yeah, it was from Carl Fazina, Ed.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I didn't see that before I left.
Yeah. And then I think the cybersecurity training part, that's kind of, I'm not sure of the schedule. We're going to be kind of at random on that one. Is that right? In terms of their schedule?
We picked the start date of March, so that's about to kick off.
Okay.
March to, I think, the end of November.
Okay. And then maybe just fill everybody in where we are with the voice over IP.
I've got to fill out some forms and get those back to them on the users. And Mr. Rooks offered to give me some help if need be with that.
Yeah, just let me know how I can.
If you could create 36-hour days, that would be a good solution.
I think I'd hoard them for a while to try to get caught up on other stuff, but I'm with you. If there's a way I can help, let me know. Obviously, town hall and the users inside and out, but I'll be happy to either spot check stuff or organize stuff, whatever you need.
Yeah, I thought I had sent them that stuff, but maybe it's just in the wrong format. So,
have we actually ordered the phones and all that stuff? I mean, we've given them the idea that we're going to move forward.
Yeah, they have the signed paperwork for all of that.
Okay.
So they're in the configuring mode now.
Okay. Great.
All right. Just typing up some notes here. I think the next topic is I know David, you had started working on a presentation about fiber, basically. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Kim and I had met and kind of bounced some ideas off of each other and kind of recap kind of what we thought were the important points for, you know, or the important takeaways that we wanted to try to communicate related to, you know, the MLP or just, you know, fiber to the home initiative as a whole. And I know that we were kind of going back and forth, Dan, with you as well about, you know, where that fit into the select board agenda and how we wanted to encapsulate that. And I know that there was also the question of the, you know, the quarterly or annual review. So essentially, Kim and I have come up with, you know, a good number of bullet points in terms of, you know, what could go into a slide deck, you know, different ways that we can present to the select board. But I think the, you know, the big thing is first introducing the topic, because, you know, if I'm kind of just going off of memory here, but you know, I think the first thing is to try to get, you know, buy-in or at least an understanding of the select board to say, yes, go after grants, you know, to try to fund at least some of the upfront, you know, the surveys and the, you know, the feasibility and everything that kind of goes into the planning portion of that. But really, I think the most important part is planting the seed with the select board and saying, here's the benefits, here's why we're going after this. And here's a couple channels, you know, a couple ways that we can do that. One of which being, you know, the municipal light plant, rather than just, you know, bringing in somebody externally to provide the infrastructure and provide that service. So that's kind of where we left off. You know, I'd be happy to pull up, you know, the document that we had to kind of talk about some of those talking points if we want. I do, you know, without Kim here, I want to make sure that we, you know, she hears some of that input as well, because, you know, it was going to be kind of the two of us teamed up to put this in front of the select board. But again, you know, we were initially going at this as, how do we build out this, you know, this big presentation and this, that, and the other thing, but what are we really getting the select board to vote on at this point? You know, it's gaining buy-in, gaining their interest in us pursuing this, but there's not a vote to be had yet per se.
Well, I don't know, Ed, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things I think, so in terms of this kind of a presentation versus your quarterly update, to me, this is kind of your quarterly update. I mean, don't do a separate thing like that. I mean, the bulk of the things that we've been working on are between the MLP and now the website design. So, I mean, I don't think there's any other extraneous stuff you need to add. If you want to make this a presentation per se, we can have you, you know, first up in the meeting, and that'll be on the 29th. We've got you kind of a spot held. I think the challenge time-wise, and correct me if I'm wrong, Med, but if we wanted to go with the MLP idea, it's got to, remember the guy told us that we had to have 2 votes, right, at town meeting, and we got a town meeting coming up in May. So there needs to be some level of discussion, understanding to see if we would want to put this on the town warrant for the voters vote. And that would mean probably in between time a little bit more, you know, PR to the town as well about what this is all about, so the voters have a clue what they're voting on, right?
Right.
But we'd want to have stuff ready for the town warrant by, what was it, Ed, around the 10th or something of April? I forget the date actually.
I think it's April 5th.
Okay. Yeah, and that was, I mean, we talk about time constraints. That was one of the things that Kim and I were scratching our head on, because, you know, there was only a small portion of time
Right.
to do the quarterly report out, and for us to do a proper, I think, we kind of believe for us to do a proper presentation of, you know, the pros and cons and the benefit and kind of what that journey looks like to set up an MLP would be more than just something that would be slotted into the, you know, the quarterly report readout. So we basically took that, you know, it took that multi-slide deck, you know, package of information and boiled it way down to be just a couple bullet points that we could bring up as either part of that quarterly readout, or it could just be part of that report, and we could speak to it there. But I think really to get folks on board and to properly kind of go through that whole process, it's gonna take what you said, Chris, which is really just a dedicated presentation where we could bring that up, similar to what we did, I think, with like the voice over IP upgrade as well, to allow that back and forth conversation.
Yeah, that would be my thought. I don't know, Ed. I think that would allow you, a good, solid 20 minutes from, half an hour, whatever we can allot for it, with a few Q&As in there. But it just seems like if we think we want to go this way, I guess, we don't want to miss the chance of a town meeting vote if that's one of the criteria to even get things off the ground on this. So
and I agree. I just feel like, to tie that vote in, we've got to have the time to be able to do a proper presentation. So in terms of those two votes, what decisions are we targeting really there? Is it just, does Southampton pursue becoming a municipal light plant? Is it tied to vendor selection? I'm just trying to understand for my own purposes. So
Can I share my thought on it?
Please.
So we present to the select board. They obviously say yes. That there was that grant that we could use for some initial feasibility studies. I'm wondering if that still fits in the time frame that we have available to us. We pursue that grant to do those initial feasibility studies. We also, by getting the select board's approval, get it onto the warrant for the next town meeting. So that would be our first vote. Allow us to start investigating it with after we win that grant, and then we'd just be working forward till the next vote, and then we'd have to make our down selection to one of the providers and going forward from there. That's kind of my big vision of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we're happy to go about this in any way. It was just, would there be any, there's no downside to going after that grant. And that grant is very specifically focused on expanding, broadband and access to high-speed internet in these areas. So we can certainly go about it in any manner. I just want to make sure that, what we're putting in front of them to vote on has substance. And, also I want to make sure that they're clear that this is not something that happens overnight. This is a, probably multi-year endeavor. So, even the feasibility study could take, 6 to 9 months. You'd be surprised how much goes into that. So, yeah, I think, Dan, I think if we want to just kind of solidify, A, the presentation, but B, how we approach this and how we're staging the questions and the decisions, we're all about it. So I can look to connect with Kim and, coming up, and we can kind of revisit where we left off with that presentation. And then Chris, you said that it was the 29th?
Yeah, it'll be 2 weeks from tomorrow, I think. Yep.
Okay. That works for me.
Cool. And it'll all fall into place.
And I don't know, Ed, I mean, are we jumping the gun in terms of getting, our thoughts ready for a town warrant? Are we too early on this?
Yeah. The other question I'm going to have to turn around and ask KP Law is, the last time I talked to them, they were of the opinion that actually we didn't have to set up an MLP to just offer broadband. So let me go back to Michelle and see if they've done any deeper dive on that, so that if we don't have to go back down that road, it'll take a little pressure off. If we do, then I would say that we move forward, and I would just say it's one of two votes, and I would just say, I would push this one as it allows us to take the first step to pursue providing our own internet to the town outside of a cable company.
Yep. Yeah, and I think, part of what we're going to get out of just continuing those conversations and doing the feasibility study, it'll tell us kind of what we're looking at financially in terms of an investment to put into this. Like, what is it really going to take to even do that? Because that grant isn't going to cover it by a long shot.
No, you're probably looking about anywhere from $5.5 to $7 million. So
easily, yep.
Right, and so then we have to come. The point of this is coming up with the rollout strategy, so we can roll it out over segments of town, eventually cover the cost of that segment, then move on to another segment until you have the town covered. Right.
Right. So. And the one advantage of actually having to set up an MLP is that they actually become their own entity, and any borrowing or bonding that's done is done under that entity versus being done under the town and, shall we say, competing against any other projects or working against our levy ceiling.
All right, so sounds like we have some work to do between now and the 29th. The presentation about fiber, and hopefully we can set up another meeting with Final Site to hear a little more about their product, so we can present more about an updated town website to the select board. And with that, with both of those actions, we'd want to be submitting into the ARPA request, which opens on April 1st. All right.
Yeah, the ARPA requests are open now, and then
they close on April 1st.
But yeah, well, they'll start reviewing them on April 1st.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
And shame on me, because I went through the list of the boards and committees that on the website and sent that out to them, but because of the fact that 2 ad hoc committees aren't necessarily listed in that list, and you don't have one common email address, you weren't on that. So I will forward that to all of you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh yeah, I did. I was doing the goldfish, as they call it. Are there any topics that we want to go into any more detail on that we talked about? Anything? I'm hearing no. Okay. Are there any new topics that can't wait until our next meeting?
Nope, don't think so.
Sounds like we have a pretty full agenda anyways, so.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'll get these minutes out. This video I'll get uploaded to Easthampton Media if you want to watch the presentation again from the website provider. It's there available for you. So, okay, everybody.
I'll let Adam know that we're looking for another meeting to get into more detail.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And tell him we might be able to do another night if it allows him more time. If it was for some reason had something to do with the Monday,
Yeah, it was. he was all set and had all the time in the world for the last week. It didn't happen, and then when this one got rescheduled,
Yeah.
he already had another one. So
Well, I apologize to everybody.
yeah, is what it is. It'll work out.
Okay. All right. If there's nothing else, how about I move that we adjourn this meeting? Nobody objects?
No objections.
Okay. Have a nice week, everybody. We'll talk to you later.
You. Thanks, everybody.
Good
Take
night.
care.
You-
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers. This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.